All right, we are here with Mr. George Geronimo, and we are going to talk about Cloud Resource Manager. We're going to do a quick 5 minutes. Let's see how fast you can do. We're going to talk about Cloud Resource Manager, how we manage all the resources within Google Cloud Platform. I mean, most of these are usually very technical, right? This is less technical, but just as important as all the technologies. How do you organize and manage all of this?
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the org, kind of how this all fits into all the technologies that we have to manage.
Yeah, no, so you hit on a key point there. What the focus of this talk is the organization aspect, right? We've got over 64 different products within any one of our customers. They have many different departments. So how do you keep all those segregated and how do you keep those all straight, right? How do you keep the billing separated? How do you do chargeback? All those great things, right? So this talk is going to be focusing a bit on how we leverage the resource manager as well as other things within that hierarchy to delineate between projects, between organizations, between groups, all those great things. So to your point, we start at the very top with the organization, right? The organization is your top level node, so to speak, right? It's defined at kind of a company level. So if you had a company, we'll call it Acme Co. Right, Acme Co would be the major container or the top level directory, if you will, for all of the things that are going to happen within the GCP world at Acme Co.
So it's the domain. I mean, it's the domain. So what if Acme Co has subsidiaries? Do they usually fall under that org, or is it a separate org, or maybe it's both?
It can be both. So that's really one of the cool things about this, right? It's it's engineered in a way that it allows you a lot of flexibility so that you can create kind of an Acme Co top level directory, and then all of its subsidiaries or wholly owned, partially owned, whatever, or companies through acquisition can then exist within folders right underneath the org, right? So that's one way of doing it. You can also have multiple orgs that have permissions across those different orgs, so that Acme Co and Acme Little Bro Co can share project resources.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Actually, I think we should just keep on going. Now we talked about the org. The org is kind of the company. Under the company, you have all of these resources, right? And I'm assuming most large companies, even small companies, have lines of businesses underneath of them. Now you have the org. You set it up. Tell me a little bit more about how maybe the billing works, or does billing fit into the org at this point, or not yet?
Absolutely. So when you set up an organization, right, you get two things. You get an organizational admin who administers the entire organization, and then you get a billing account, right, or a billing and a billing admin. So as you start to roll in, or say in the case of like an acquisition, right, that company or that group of people will have their own billing identifiers. You can bring those in and roll those into the main org. Does that answer your question?
Okay, yeah. So you can have different billing IDs or billing accounts within one org.
Right.
Okay, got it. Now let's kind of dig deeper. We formed the company. We're going to be the next $1 billion startup.
Of course.
Of course. Now, we have a payment plan. Okay, it could be credit card or some kind of contract that we've done with Google Cloud. What's next? Let's say I have a development or dev department, R&D team. I have maybe a machine learning team, and they want their own resources.
Right.
What are the best practices on how do I organize my folders? I mean, I see folders, project. How do those all fit together at this point?
So really, again, this is one of those, hey, we allow you a ton of flexibility, and whether you choose to leverage it or not is kind of at your discretion, right? Best practice is to create a folder. Say you have one company and many departments, then you create a folder for each different department, right? And within those folders, which are really just logical containers, you can then start to create what are called projects, right? And the projects are those containers into which you put resources. Resources can be things like services like BigQuery, GKE, or they can be just VMs, right, from Google Compute Engine.
So you can have multiple projects within a folder.
Yes.
Each folder is a department, and each department, probably has multiple groups that want to use Google Cloud Platform services, but they still want separation of between projects.
Right.
So maybe that's a good segue on what does it mean by why would someone want to separate a project? Let's say I have multiple teams. When do I want to use the same project, or when do I want to use a separate project?
So some instances where you would want to use the same project, if you have maybe a lot of data that you don't want to duplicate amongst different projects, and ultimately the same different teams are using the same input data and they're using the same output data. I would argue that it doesn't make a lot of sense to duplicate that, right? So why not just use a single project? The reason why you might want to use more than one project is if you have very strict guidelines on how you're doing things like chargeback, right? So you want any resources that are used by Department A to be charged back to Department A, and so on for Department B and C and so on.
So our billing aligns very well to projects, meaning that we can easily see how much a project is charging on a certain billing ID. Would that be accurate?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay.
We also extend that by allowing you to use labels. So labels are yet another way of tracking or having a way to readily identify which resources are being used by which part of the organization.
Perfect. All right. Well, that was a great quick summary. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to tell the audience in terms of org folders and projects?
No, I guess not. I was going to quote Yoda, but I won't go there. So
you can. What were you going to say?
No, it was the whole. Actually, it's Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
With, the whole great responsibility thing.
Oh, okay.
So no, I would say definitely plan this out ahead of time, and be methodical about how you are lining this up. Done correctly, this can grow from a 2-person company to a 1,000-person company really easily.
Great. Thanks, George.
Yep. Thank you.